Hello friends, I'm here with a couple very exciting videos. This is the first, but today we're talking about Anastasia! So, if you don't know, I planned a trip to New York City, and it's now an annual thing where my mother and I go and we see basically 3 shows in 2 days. And this year, we got to see some pretty great shows. So I'm in New York right now, just chilling. It's kind of BEA, but I'm not really there. I wanted to talk to you about Anastasia, because apparently everybody wants to know about it. If you don't know Anastasia, Anastasia is a musical that is based on the movie that came out in, I think, 1997. And this animated film was my life for so long. I grew up with it. I had it on VHS. I love it. It's like my favorite non-Disney movie. Basically, when they announced that Anastasia was becoming a musical, I vividly remember it, and I was like, I'm seeing the damn show, okay? It's happening. And so conveniently, when it was going to be on stage when I was coming to New York for BEA and BookCon, I was like, well, I'll get tickets. And so I got tickets last October, and I finally got to see it this May 30th. I will say it's very different from the movie. There are some similarities, and there are some songs that are the same, but a lot of it is just very different. And that's okay. It's fine. I kind of knew going into it that it wouldn't be the same thing, because that movie has been very special to me and a lot of people for a very long time. But I couldn't not see it. So this was the first show that I saw in New York this year. And as you can tell, I got to meet some people. I got to meet basically the main cast members, the core 4, except for Ramin. It's fine. I'm not bitter. I got to meet, I believe this is the Dowager Empress. I can't remember her name. Actually, I don't really know any of the actors and actresses' names other than Derek and Christy. This is Vlad. But they came out, and it was just so cool to meet them. Christy was incredibly sweet. They were all very nice and generous, but she, like, you could tell this was like her first big thing, because any person she talked to, she looked at you and she was like, thank you so much for coming. And it wasn't like it was a genuine, like, I love you, thank you for coming, it means so much to me. And it was just so beautiful to see her. Yeah, so I will give you some of my thoughts without spoilers, but if you don't want to be spoiled, I guess, don't listen. So was this my favorite musical I saw this time around? No. Was it my favorite musical ever? No, it wasn't. There were a couple things I was a little disappointed about, and even coming out of it, I went with a couple booktubers, and coming out of it, they were all like, yeah, it was a little disappointing. Because I think you build up the movie so much, and the movie has been around for like 20 years. 20 years. And it's just so important and beautiful and well done. And then you get to the musical and you're kind of expecting a lot because you want to see that movie on stage. And that's not what it is. It's separate. It's different. This one is more geared towards Russia, I feel like, whereas the movie is more geared towards the romance between Anastasia and Dmitri. This one does have the romance, definitely, but I felt like it was more about, you know, finding yourself and finding your family and Russia. There was a lot of Russia in it that I did not expect. They don't have Rasputin as the villain. The villain is this guy named Gleb, who is played by Ramin, and he's just like this soldier who is really passionate about communism and Leningrad and stuff. And so it's different. It's not the same. It's not quite as magical. It's more rooted in the real world while still being a fairy tale, but it was still cry-worthy. Like, when it started, it starts with the notes of the very beginning of the movie where it's like, da 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 da, and like, I just almost started bawling. I didn't full out bawl, but I like was crying. It was very, very intense. And so some of the first scenes that you see are the family getting shot and killed. And so it's really intense and sad, very sad, but it was so meaningful. That was one of my favorite scenes. I just like cried. It was so sad, but so beautifully done. One of the things I really loved about this musical was the set. The set was so genius. They have 2 revolving walls where you'll have one side and then it'll flip to the other side to see something else. And then it has like a middle kind of barrier that'll like change depending on what they need. But the whole thing has screens, so the background is different for almost every scene. You have some scenes where it's like a map, some scenes where it's like an actual background that like moves, like the clouds that actually change. Like there's buildings, there's magical things. Like it was just so unique. It really reminded me a lot of Les Mis, if you've seen that on Broadway. During the sewer scene, they have it so it looks like you're like walking into a sewer, but it's like digitally created, and that's kind of how it felt, but they did it in such a way that it was so well done. The train scene, they have like an actual physical train on stage, a train car, and it's, you can see through it, so it's not that weird. But in the background they have it so it looks like the train is actually moving, so the train will like turn and the background will like tilt its perspective based on how it turns. And it was just, as a video person, the whole time I was just like, how are you doing this? It's so cool. I also really love the costumes in this. Obviously it's set in Russia, and so some of the royals have these beautiful, beautiful ball gowns. Like when Anastasia's mom walked on stage for the first time, I think I like physically gasped. It was so beautiful. It was just, you know, those really poofy ball gowns that have sequins all over them, the long sleeves, the tiara, like I was just in tears. It was so gorgeous. I mean, Anastasia's ball gown at the end with the red was just beautiful, and her ball gown from the ballet, her ball gown for the ballet, the slim blue dress was, oh, tears. It was so beautiful. I think all the actors and actresses were amazing. Like I love the story and I love the characters as they were in the film, but I also really enjoyed how these actors gave it a new take. The camaraderie, I always love going to shows because you can tell every single like play or musical is a huge family, and these people are a family. It was great. Also, I really, really ship Dimitri and Anya. I hope you know that. It was one of my first ships growing up, and to see it on stage, like Christy and Derek, wow, such good chemistry. I wish there was a little bit more sass going on, but they were so cute and they did such a good job, and he has some great biceps. I'm just gonna say that. They're very large. I also really loved Vlad. They call him Vlad in this. I don't know what the difference is because it's Vlad and Vlad accents. I don't know. But he was so good. He was really funny. They were all hilarious. And his dancing was on point. So good. Honestly, I just loved the cast. The other really cool thing, so they don't have Sophie. They don't have Sophie in this one, but they have instead a countess named Lily. And Lily was in Moulin Rouge. And like literally when she walked on stage, I like looked a little closer and I was like, I'm pretty sure she was in Moulin Rouge. And I didn't get to check it until after the show, but she was in Moulin Rouge. I love Moulin Rouge, in case you didn't know. She played the woman in El Tango de Roxanne, if you know that one. Sidetrack. She was phenomenal. Like Lily is such an interesting character because she's super sassy. She has this one like solo song in a club, the Neva Club, and like her dancing, her singing, just all of them were very, very good. And like it makes me sad that this show didn't go on at a different season. I think a lot of the times there are shows that come out that like if it had been a different time, they would have done really well. And if certain shows, Great Comet and Dear Heaven Hansen, were not on stage, they would have done so much better. And I still think Anastasia is doing pretty well, but they don't get the Tony noms they deserve because they're just average enough to not be Tony worthy at this point, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just like really enjoyed it. Some of the things that were a little disappointing, I was a little disappointed with Ramin, honestly. Like, I don't think it was his fault. He did a great job acting and singing, like, oh, his voice, honestly. But I think the character of Gleb just, like, wasn't doing it for me. I think Rasputin was a stronger villain, honestly, and I also think that he had a stronger song. I really like his song. Also, I felt like the ending was a little bit of a cop-out. Like, Gleb almost shoots her, and then he's like, nah, I'm not my father's son. You go on. It's fine. Like, I get it, but also I was like, would he really do that? I don't know. Another thing that kind of disappointed me were the songs from the movie. I liked a lot of the new songs, but the movie songs were usually rewritten, except for like the main Journey to the Past and Once Upon a December. They were rewritten a little bit, and they didn't have the same oomph that the movie had. Like, I felt like the movie cast was much stronger, and I felt like they were much more into it, I guess. Like in the musical they were still into it, but it just like it wasn't the same. And I think that's the thing that really did it in, because I was like, oh, I know this song and this isn't that song. And it's fine, it was still great, and I still was like in tears most of the time. But honestly, I would highly recommend it, especially if you like the movie. I think you should give it a chance because it is really magical. The actors and actresses are really great, and I do love a lot of the things that they did with it. I think it was still really, really well done for a Broadway show. It just like gave me all the feels. I cried like 5 different times. I just like got really teary-eyed, and it was just beautiful. Let me know in the comments if you've seen Anastasia, if you want to see Anastasia, if you're jealous that I saw Anastasia, because I got a lot of those on Twitter. But thank you guys for watching, and I will be giving you some more Broadway reviews. Check them out.